Welcome everyone to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we are looking at one of the most dramatic, honestly captivating plants you can possibly add to your landscape. We're talking about the ostrich fern. If you've been looking for that ultimate garden centerpiece, something that brings a super lush, almost prehistoric vibe right into your backyard, well, you're in exactly the right place.
So let me ask you something. Do you have one of those heavily shaded, stubbornly boggy spots in your yard where literally nothing seems to survive? You know, the dark, wet corners that most gardeners absolutely dread? Well, what if I told you that exact challenging environment is actually a gold mine? Seriously. Today, we're looking at the ostrich fern as your ultimate problem solver. It's a plant that doesn't just survive in those difficult, wet, shady spaces, it actually demands them to thrive.
Okay, let's dive right into our complete care guide. First, we'll meet the ostrich fern properly. Then we'll dial in its essential environment. After that, we'll cover a bit of troubleshooting, talk about how to multiply your ferns, and finally, the best part, harvesting fiddleheads.
Section 1. Meet the ostrich fern, the prehistoric shade lover.
Botanically, this beauty is known as Matteuccia struthiopteris. But you'll also hear it called the shuttlecock fern pretty frequently. And honestly, once you see it fully grown, you'll totally get why. It forms this incredibly beautiful, elegant, vase-like shape that arches outward. It looks exactly like the giant feathers of an ostrich's tail, or, you guessed it, a badminton shuttlecock. It's native to temperate regions all across the northern hemisphere, and it just brings this timeless woodland elegance wherever it's planted.
Now, one of the most fascinating botanical features of this plant is that it actually produces two completely distinct types of fronds. It's like a two-for-one deal. On the one hand, you've got the sterile green fronds. These are those massive, feathery leaves that create that dramatic outer vase shape we were just talking about. But then, look right at the center of the plant. Later in the summer, it pumps out fertile fronds. These guys are shorter, really stiff, very dark, and they stand totally erect right in the middle. And the amazing part? While the big green fronds die back in the winter, those dark, fertile fronds persist right through the snow, releasing their spores to the winter wind. Nature is crazy, right?
And we really cannot talk about the ostrich fern without talking about scale. 6. That is the number of feet these glorious green fronds can reach in height under ideal conditions. Think about that for a second. A massive 6-foot-tall prehistoric fern that also spreads 3 to 5 feet wide. It's a true architectural statement piece for any garden.
Moving on to Section 2. Essential environment and care. Mastering light, water, and soil.
So to really master this plant, we essentially have to mimic its natural woodland habitat. That means part to full shade. Think beautiful, dappled sunlight filtering through the trees. For the soil, you want a rich, humus-heavy mix with a slightly acidic to neutral pH. But crucially, you've got to pay attention to the climate requirements, USDA zones 3 to 7. This fern is exceptionally cold hardy. In fact, it actually requires a period of deep, cold winter dormancy to survive. So if you live in the hot, humid areas, zones 8 and above, honestly, this plant is going to struggle immensely.
All right, if you take away only one thing from this care guide, make it this. The soil absolutely must feel like a well-wrung-out sponge. Consistent moisture is the single most important factor for a healthy ostrich fern, period. You know how most garden plants suffer from wet feet and get root rot in damp soil? Well, the ostrich fern thrives in it. It absolutely loves it. This makes it a total superstar addition to rain gardens, stream beds, or those tricky, low-lying areas near ponds.
Surprisingly enough, this big, dramatic fern is incredibly easy to maintain once you've set up that moist, shady environment. You can actually just put away the heavy chemical fertilizers right now. Over-fertilizing can actually hurt it. All it wants is a simple top dressing of compost or some well-rotted manure in the early spring. Other than cutting back the dead fronds once a year, you really just let it do its thing. Oh, and a quick pro tip for you. Plant them in large groups. They will quickly spread out and form this incredibly lush, basically zero-effort ground cover.
Let's jump into Section 3. Troubleshooting pests and problems. Keeping your fern flawless.
Even easy plants have bad days, so let's diagnose some potential ailments with a quick symptom checker. If you're seeing brown, crispy edges, your plant is basically yelling at you that it's getting blasted by too much direct sun, especially that harsh south-facing afternoon sun, or it's just completely parched. Wilting and drooping, extremely thirsty. Go give it a deep, deep soak. Now, what if you see large, chewed-out holes in those beautiful, broad fronds? Yeah, that's the work of slugs and snails. They're pretty much the only major pest you'll deal with here, mostly because they love those exact same damp, shady spots. And finally, yellowing leaves. In autumn, totally normal, it's just going dormant. But if you see yellowing in the middle of summer, that's a big red flag for heat or drought stress.
Okay, I just want to pause right here for a second because this needs to be abundantly clear. The ostrich fern is not a houseplant. Because it is so gorgeous and architectural, people try it all the time to pot it up and put it in their living room corner. It will fail every time. Like we talked about earlier, this plant absolutely relies on that freezing outdoor winter chill to go dormant and reset its whole growth cycle. Keep it out in your garden where it belongs for sure.
Section 4, multiplying your ferns. How to propagate. So ostrich ferns naturally spread via these vigorous underground runners called rhizomes, and honestly, they can get quite aggressive. So by dividing them in early spring, you aren't just getting brand new plants for free, which is awesome, you're also practicing some essential crowd control. The logic is super simple. Just take a sharp spade to the outer edge of the colony, dig up a rhizome section, making absolutely sure it has a tightly coiled crown and a good set of roots, and replant it immediately. Keep it very, very wet while it establishes, and boom, you've got a brand new fern.
And now for my favorite part, Section 5, harvesting edible fiddleheads, the gourmet spring reward.
We definitely saved the most delicious part for last. But listen, before you eat any wild plant, identification is literally everything. Ostrich ferns are heavily prized for their young edible spring shoots, which we call fiddleheads, but you must verify a few things. Look for a deep U-shaped groove on the inside of a totally smooth stem. You should also see a thin, brown, papery covering that basically rubs right off in your hands. You only want to harvest them early when they're just 2 to 6 inches tall and still tightly coiled up. And please practice sustainable harvesting here. Never snap off more than half the fiddleheads from a single crown. Otherwise, the plant won't have the energy to survive the year. You have to be 100% certain of these visual markers, folks, because other wild ferns out there can be highly toxic.
Once you've safely harvested them, the prep work is just as important. Safety first, always. Start by rubbing off all those brown, papery scales and give them a really thorough rinse. Now, crucially, and I can't emphasize this enough, never eat fiddleheads raw. Thoroughly cooking them is an absolute must. You have to boil or steam them for at least 10 to 15 minutes to neutralize naturally occurring compounds that can cause some pretty severe digestive upset, and nobody wants that. Once that's done though, you can sauté them in butter, fry them up, and enjoy a flavor that's this amazing mix of asparagus, green bean, and a little bit of artichoke. It's incredible. To wrap up our explainer today, I wanted to leave you with this really beautiful thought. In plant folklore, the ostrich fern symbolizes new beginnings, resilience, and shelter. And honestly, when you see those tight little fiddleheads uncoiling in the spring, and then watch those massive, protective 6-foot fronds rise up to shelter the woodland floor, it's pretty easy to see why. You aren't just planting a fern, you're cultivating a living piece of resilient prehistoric history. So I hope you look at those difficult, wet, shady spots in your yard not as a problem anymore, but as an opportunity to build your own private sanctuary. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I challenge you, where are you going to plant yours?